Let me clear my throat. The truth will set you free, but first, it'll piss you off. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I'm back with another review to Black Lightning. This is for the latest episode, which was called, oh gosh, what was it called? Black Jesus, the Book of Crucifixion, and really good episode as usual. The lyrics to Lemon by NERD came to my mind when this whole episode, right? You know, thankfully the truth eventually came out and set Jefferson free, but man, did it ever piss him off first. And me, I got very upset during this episode. I got livid a few times, but really well done as usual. This is one of those episodes where we took a step back from all the, you know, crazy action, but we did a little bit more storytelling, and very emotional storytelling at that, as well as a little bit more development of characters. And I really appreciate it. And I loved also seeing that in this particular case, we had everything solved with brains as opposed to brawn, which I really like. I love when superhero shows recognize what Lynn said in this episode, which is that not every problem is something you need to power your way through. Something that's very much going on with The Flash right now, too. Like, if you watch that show, then you know that Barry and his team are going through something where the superpowers are just not going to be enough. They got to be up here for once. So, love that theme that was kind of through this whole episode, and this one really dealt with the other half of Jefferson's personality, and I really like that because we focused very heavily on Black Lightning and in the powers and how green light is affecting all these people in a physical way, but we've only kind of touched back and forth on who Jefferson's become in the time that he stepped away from being Black Lightning. I mean, he's always been, it looks like, a good teacher and a good community person, but in those 9 years, it looks like he like really built up this whole idea around, you know, being a refuge for the kids in his neighborhood, and around building up the young, brilliant minds in his school, and really empowering these kids to recognize that their limitations can be blown away if they know how to approach them through knowledge and through really just focusing on themselves and bettering themselves. The title of Black Jesus, obviously he didn't give it to himself. That was something everyone else said, but that was because, you know, he saved people in the sense that he really did save a lot of these young kids. Like, we saw the testimonials of all the people when they were being interviewed about how some of them said, you know, he's the reason why my kid graduated. He's the reason my kid's not on the street. And we saw that, like, there's a respect in the community. Even in the jail, if you notice, the prisoners weren't even messing with him, right? And that's not because that, I mean, come on. How many times you get a 6'5" man walk into jail looking like Jefferson and no one wants beef with him, right? And I mean, of course, I'm sure if they knew he was Black Lightning, it would have been a different story. But, you know, it just really shows the impact that he's had and the work that he's put in, the honest, well-intentioned work that he's put into this community and the people in it. And even that VP bitch, I'm sorry, I was gonna call her the VP Thirsty, but she graduated to bitch territory this episode. Even she felt in her core how morally wrong it was to do what she was doing to Jefferson, even if she did believe he was Black Lightning, which she clearly doesn't, but still, she knows that even if that's the case, Black Lightning has not done any, Black Lightning and Jefferson both, neither of them have done anything that really is worthy of his entire life being ruined. It's really a great testament to Jefferson, the kind of person that he is, the desire to help people, as Gamby brought out. You know, he really loves to help people and protect people, and one way to protect people and the community was not only what he did with stepping in and making the school a safe zone from the 100, but also just teaching them what they need to do to arm themselves outside of getting involved in the gangs. And, you know, he's teaching them to arm themselves with knowledge and with prospects so that they can improve their life situation and, you know, change the narrative that would normally be the case in neighborhoods that are like Freeland. So loved it. I really love that we got a deeper delve into Black Jesus and also what it means in the community and just how much that hurts. You know, your reputation is such a huge deal, and your reputation is so important in this world, right? It socially dictates so much of what you're able to do and where you can go in your life and the opportunities available to you. And if you've worked very hard to have a reputation that you're proud of, not necessarily just for opportunities, but just one that you can feel good about for yourself and for your family, to have someone tarnish that with something that's so against what you believe, like, that would be so gut-wrenching and world-shattering. And the fact that Jefferson had to go through that, on top of all of that, the indignity the indignity with being arrested. It's such like, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, being arrested shouldn't be necessarily a dignifying experience. I mean, typically, if you are rightfully arrested, you've done something wrong. You've committed a crime, most likely knowingly. So it shouldn't be an experience you want to go through numerous times. But if you are innocent, especially if you know you're innocent, to go through that degrading thing, having your clothes taken off, having people touch you in such a personal and degrading way, to have people look at you, you know, with that disappointment and judgment in their eyes, to have people manhandle you and rough you up, like all that stuff is so hard. And it's just, it's not only, of course, the physical, you know, aspect, but just the emotional and the mental aspects of it was just, it was just a pure abuse for poor Jefferson. And again, the poise he had in that situation, it would have been so easy for him to just let all the rage, and not just of that situation. I mean, come on, he is a black man in America. He's got rage. You know, he could have just taken the power out of about 6'10" city blocks and fried everybody up in there. But he was like, no, he recognized that this was bigger than just him getting a momentary reprieve, a momentary moment of, you know, of revenge. He realized he had to make sure he was cleared legitimately, otherwise everything he had done could potentially be undone. But it was great to also see that at the school that the students were not ready to believe. Like, that says another thing too about his character, right? Kids are the biggest, most accurate bullshit meters you will ever meet in your life. Kids know, they know a hypocrite and they know bullshit when they see it. And if Jefferson was not about what he was saying, if he didn't walk the walk that he was talking, those kids would be the first ones to be like, you know, I always knew that Principal Pierce was, you know, no. They were there standing at the entrance ready to like rumble with the police, being like, you have the wrong man, we know this. So again, really good testament to what Jefferson's done and the kind of man he is. Love the solution that Gamby came up with. I always love when the genius shows off why he's a genius. And of course we figured it out with Gamby. I mean, he's making all the suits, he's made all the cool gadgets and gizmos that Jefferson's been using. But it's really cool to see in this episode, once again, Jefferson and Anissa could not use their powers to get him out of this. There was no way they could do that without making the situation worse, so they had to think their way out of it. And I love the idea, let's convince them that Black Lightning is somebody else. Let's put him somewhere else. They never thought about that. So really love the whole idea of the self-driving car. I was like, okay, Gamby, I see you. Well done. We just need to do that from going forward though, because I never like it when Gamby goes out. He's just so fragile and precious. But that was great. The hologram was amazing, and Anissa being able to jump in there and help out and and again, I love that she got that lesson in there as well from Gamby, that like, you can't just go off and use your powers. Just because you're bulletproof does not mean everybody around you is, and not just in a literal sense, right? He's like, you endanger your family, the other people you care about when you go rampaging off, thinking that your powers and using them has no repercussions. So more lessons, of course, for Anissa as she's developing her superhero persona, but also that she gets a chance to understand that you gotta use your brain sometimes, not just the fact that you can put your fist through a concrete wall. Really cute stuff with Jen. I think we saw the first hints of her potentially starting to embrace her powers a bit more. I mean, yes, a lot of it was due to just the fact that she was raw emotion in that moment, but I love that she listened to her dad and didn't burst into flames. That would have been awkward. But also that I think that feeling that she had the capability to do something, even though she didn't in that particular moment, I think she's gonna think about that and realize it kind of feels good to know that she has the ability now to do something that she may not have been able to do before when she was just a human, so to speak. So really nice little moments for all the people in the Pierce family this episode that I really enjoyed. I don't want to see too much more about the VP because honestly, I'm just so annoyed with her. I'm so annoyed. I know they're trying to make her all sympathetic because she clearly tried to get Jefferson released. She didn't want to believe Jefferson was Black Lightning. And even if she does believe it, yes, it's clear she didn't want him to die per se, but I can't feel bad for her. I can't because she's out of her one side of her face trying to say this about Jeff, but then she's also saying, oh, here's 3 kids who ingested green light, no effects yet. It's like, girl, you're watching kids die. You know that if these kids don't develop abilities, the other side is that they become instantly addicted and take green light till they die. And you're okay with that. You're just saying, oh, well, because I like Jefferson, it's, you know, I feel a little bad about that, but screw these kids. It's disgusting. It takes a certain kind of low and a certain type of unbelievable selfishness to do something like that to someone that you've worked with for a number of years and been close to and clearly have developed a relationship with. And more importantly, being around these children, seeing what Jefferson has done, seeing kids go from the brink of throwing their lives away to potentially being on a really, really good path, and for her to just be standing by knowing that, first of all, that if this whole thing with Jefferson happened, it probably would have undone a big chunk of the work that he'd done, but also to know that the green light was just going to run rampant and more kids were going to die. Like, she needs to go. She needs to die. She needs to just not be on. I really need her to end up dead sometime at the end of this. I do not want to see her in season 2. I've said it. I'm done with her. She can go with her big eyes and her fake smile and just be someplace that's not on this show. I'm done with her. There's no redemption path for her right now for me. No. And the other points of interest in this episode, the containers with the kids. We saw that, well, I shouldn't say kids. We don't know how old they are, but we saw that they moved the subjects, so the people who have abilities, who took green light, they've been moving them, but apparently changing their location, changing the stasis in any way is affecting them. I really thought we were going to see somebody maybe thaw out and do some damage, but I still think that might happen. I have a little hypothesis that, I mean, a lot of people have been saying static shock since the beginning of the season, and I looked up who that was. Maybe. I don't think we're going to get it to like the finale though, but I don't think they would take the time to show us the chambers again, have the conversation with the doctor about how they're or I don't know if he was a doctor, but whoever is maintaining it, that the constant moving is affecting the fluctuations, or affecting the subjects, and that their vitals are going all over. I feel like somebody's gonna break through. Somebody's just gonna need that little window of disruption to be able to break whatever's keeping them in that state, and they're gonna break out of that facility. But I feel like we're gonna see in episode 13 some kid, you know, wrapped up in that white linen stuff they're all in. He's gonna look all disoriented, or she, and he's gonna be all disoriented and be like, I'm out. And then we're just gonna see him like just stumble out of like the warehouse and head off someplace. And in season 2 will be like all about this other powered person that Jefferson and his family are gonna have to track down. But that's getting ahead of myself. That's just something that I thought about, and why we're focusing so much on the pods all of a sudden. Yeah, and I guess, and finally, the whole thing with the deputy chief, well, the detective being promoted to deputy chief. I mean, I'm really proud of him and happy that he was willing to stand by Jefferson, and that the friendship he has with this man kind of overpowered his fear of what it would be to deal with corrupt cops. And, I mean, he probably put a huge target on his back. That's the part that makes me a little bit sad, is that corrupt cops typically, you know, they're working for people who are usually a lot more powerful than they are. And I don't think that the deputy chief went far enough to figure out where the money was coming from, where the jobs were coming from. But I am glad at least we got those two jackasses out of the department, because that will help a lot with things going forward in some respects. But I really do like, I really like his character. I can't think of his name right now, I'm sorry, but I really like the fact that he, even though he knows Jefferson is lying to him about something, he knows Jefferson's keeping secrets, he still trusts him enough as a friend to be like, well, I know this is wrong, and this is more wrong than you keeping whatever's going on from me for now. I do think he suspects, though. I do think he has this, you know, maybe not so much that Jefferson is Black Lightning, but I think you might suspect that Jefferson knows who Black Lightning is at the very least, and just isn't giving that up. Time will tell, but I do like his character, but I do feel like him, because this promotion, I'm scared for him. I really am scared for him, because we all know that one of the reasons Tobias has been able to do what he's been able to do thus far, and the ASA, is because they've had crooked people on the inside to make things happen. And if he's not going to be on the payroll, that's not going to make life good for him or his family. So I'm a little worried for him. I love that he got his little, you know, moment of triumph in this episode with getting to tell those bastards that he knew what they were up to, and finally getting them out. But if he's not willing to get on the payroll, he's going to have to recognize he's going to probably bring a whole new wave of heat into his life that he wasn't prepared for. So I'm just hoping he doesn't die. I just feel like we're going to lose him this season, and I'm just going to be super sad if that happens. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you think that it was a nice change of pace from all the action, or did you feel like, no, we needed to see, you know, Anissa bust through a couple more walls? Also, what do you guys think about my theory about one of those kids getting thawed out and actually escaping, or potentially a bunch of them thawing out and escaping? And if so, who do you think we might see show up next in this whole verse? Please Leave your comments below, let me know what you're thinking. And if you like this video, guys, please click like, and if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time, see ya!